Welcome to another video from Gradelink websites. In this tutorial, we'll go through the steps necessary to add access for a new staff member to your website. There are several different levels of access on the website, so once you've logged in, we're going to head over to the users section, and from here you can see a list of all the existing users, and there are different roles. So if you want someone to have access to a particular feature and not everything, then things can get a little, you can make adjustments to the. Before we get into creating a new user, which is very simple, we'll head over to the members tab and look at the different roles that are available. You can actually create custom roles. So we've actually created a role here, for example, that is called application access. And this role actually only gives access to the forms tab and available entries on under forms. Now keep in mind, there is no way to say you only have access to one particular form. If you have access to forms, then you have access to all the forms on the website, including the schedule a tour form, the application entries, etc. You can turn off access to edit the forms and only view entries, but there's no way to limit the access to one particular form. So that being said, we've created a custom role called application access, and we can see here, if I edit this role, the only permissions that have been given are read access here, and then under gravity forms, which is the form builder that we've used to create the application form in question, we've given the ability to preview forms, view forms, edit entries, delete entries, view entry notes, edit entry notes, and import and export. If you want to remove any of these, like for example the ability to delete entries, you can do that and then click on update. So using the members tab, if that's available on your site, then you are able to create custom roles and remove and add permissions to specific users. Recall that administrative users have access to everything. So if you wish to add a new user, and then it is simply a matter of clicking add new user under users, then put in the username, email. Usually the username is either the email address, or you can put in first initial last name. That's a good standard to abide by. In most cases, when we set up usernames for our clients, then we'll put in just the email address as the username. Put in the first name, last name. That'll help brand the account a little bit more. Put in a password. It automatically pre-fills with the password, so you'll want to put in either copy the generic password and send it to the person you're setting the account up for, or put in your own password here and make sure that it meets the strength requirement. We usually uncheck send user notification, and then for user roles, you'll want to select the role that you wish to have that person have on the website. So if you want them to only have access to forms, you can have them put as application access role. And once you've filled in all the required fields, we can go ahead and fill this in. Then you'll click on add new user, and you should see a confirmation message saying the user has been set up, and you can then send an email to the person that you set up the username and password for with their username and password. It's also useful to add the login URL, as typically the login to Gradelink websites is a special login. It's the domain name /loginator, and that's how you get into the site. Now, as to what it will look like if they have limited access, it'll look something like this. So once they log in, they'll have the dashboard. They can go to forms and start viewing the entries. Now, by default, it's going to have the first form on the list, so they'll want to click on this drop down and select the form that they wish to view entries for, and from there they should be able to view everything they need to. Hover over entries and click on view. They can also adjust their column view, and that should be everything. If you give them full administrative access, then they'll see exactly the same as what every other administrator sees. That's all there is to it. Please reach out to Gradelink website support if you have any further questions.